I see everybody. Honourable Simon Bridges.
Mr Chair, I was on the Justice Select Committee for all of the last term and into this term, and I sat through all of the hearings on alcohol that we heard. I heard hundreds of submitters as Deputy Chairman. I listened intently, and I am absolutely convinced there is not a single doubt in my mind that we should raise the age to 20. And I agree with the members in this House who've spoken. I don't always agree with the Right Honourable Winston Peters, but I agree with him when he said lowering it was the silliest thing we ever did. It was the silliest thing, and one of the silliest things this House has ever done. And I will come back to the evidence, because it's a great irony that the other side of this House likes to talk about evidence when it suits them. But actually the evidence here is completely for raising it in total. But I want to say this firstly. Raising the age to 20 across the board is by far and away the most popular thing across the country, electorate by electorate. And other than maybe Chris Hipkins, Nikki Kay and Gareth Hughes and a few pimply young nats, that is what the vast majority of New Zealanders want. That is what the vast majority of New Zealanders want. And this is not a liberal...
A point of order. Honourable Tauhenere. Order.
I take offence at being referred to as a pimply-faced young man.
I don't believe the member was Simon Bridges.
And Mr Chair, as I was saying, this is not a Liberal or Conservative issue. If you go into Auckland Central or Wellington Central, let alone the East Coast or Tauranga, the overwhelming majority of New Zealanders support 20 across the board. And that is because they are common-sensed, and that is because they are right. And the evidence backs them. The evidence backs them entirely. I defy the other side of this House and the members who are voting for other options to point to evidence that goes against my proposition that 2020 is the way to go. And let me just cite a couple of things that stood out to me as I was on the Select Committee. First, the #1 expert on this in the world, a man by the name of Professor Babor, who came along to our Select Committee from America. He is the cited expert in the world on alcohol and alcohol-related harms. And he made it very clear that when they raised the age, and they could deduce from this, when they raised the age of driving, of drinking, I should say, to 21 in America, state by state, suddenly the levels of harm and the deaths on the roads for 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds dropped entirely away. And so that is a very strong reason indeed for changing this. It's not about 18 and 19-year-olds as much as it's actually about 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 12-year-olds and 11-year-olds and the alcohol that they drink. And I'm not saying this will solve the world, but it will make a difference. We've already heard very much from a number of members about the neurology and the evidence, but it is abundantly clear that adolescents cannot take the alcohol, and it has a much more harmful effect on their brains than it does for older New Zealanders. And so I say again to this House, this is popular, this is what the overwhelming majority of New Zealanders in every single electorate in this country want, and the evidence backs 2020 all the way.
Honourable Marianne Street.
Thank you, Mr Chairman, for this opportunity to contribute to the debate. Mr Chairman,